Joined by NBA champ Antoine Walker. Antoine, how are you?
How are you, sir?
Antoine, is this just your favorite time of the year? I mean, if you're not playing, it might as well be playoff basketball.
Yeah, it's tough because, I always like the NCAA time, too. But this is the best time.
Let me start over. Is this your second favorite time of the year? Antoine? If you're not playing, at least you're watching playoff basketball. I nailed that one, guys. That's what I did there. All right, let's talk about it. Hey, remember that one time when we wondered how one of the best teams
in the Final Four
in basketball, the Warriors, would win without their best player, Steph Curry? And then also remember they cruised past the Spurs in round one? Well, then we wondered how they'd fare without Steph in round two. Well, more cruising. Warriors, Pelicans, game one, Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant combined for 53 points. Draymond had a triple-double, and the Warriors won game one by 22 points. Steph who? However, Thompson did admit the Pelicans did present one problem.
It was tiring. Spurs, they're a little older, so they play a little more methodical. They try to beat us up in the half court in the low block. This team's like kind of playing ourselves. It's just you make a bucket, you can't relax. You got to sprint back. You got to find a shooter, and they're pushing the tempo. So it's a whole different ball game.
Klay looked at me there on the bench and said, "Man, Draymond, I got more tired tonight than I did in any game against the Spurs."
Yeah.
And that just kind of sums it up.
These post-game press conferences are getting to be real fun with real good sound bites. Hey, Antoine, how were the Warriors able to dominate game one without Steph Curry?
Well, obviously their bench is better than New Orleans' bench, and that's why the second quarter was just a dominant performance from the bench. And you got to think about it. I don't know if New Orleans can really score 115 points every night, and that's probably the biggest problem. Can they score 114 points a night? You hear Klay Thompson talk about the speed they play with, but it's a big difference when they don't have the type of shooters that Golden State got. You can play fast, but you got to have some shooters. I think with New Orleans, they got to try to control the pace, make sure they have better tempo. You got to feature Anthony Davis more in the half-court set. You can't run up and down with Golden State if you don't have those type of shooters. So I think that's where the difference at, in the bench production for New Orleans is not very good. It's a tremendous drop-off from the start line to the bench. And then, obviously, Golden State's bench is playing terrific.
On the bench side of it, we've said all that first round. The Pelicans got 4 guys you trust. They don't even have 5, not even a full starting lineup, because you don't really trust Antoine Moore. It's the Brow, Mirotic, and the guards, Holiday and Rondo. They need those guys to stay out of foul trouble. They need those guys to stay on the court. But what happened to me in game one was the Warriors played a triple-plus defense in the second and third quarters.
Yes.
The way they swarmed Anthony Davis, who got off to a quick start to open the first quarter, and then they limited him the rest of the way. They held the Pelicans to 40 points in those 2 quarters. When you consider the pace that they're playing, the number of possessions each team was generating, holding them to 40 points in 2 quarters is remarkable. Draymond was playing peak Defensive Player of the Year, Draymond, and that's where they won the game. They won those 2 quarters by 28 points. That's what won them the basketball game. And the reality is this for the Pelicans, even without Steph Curry for the Warriors, they have no paths to victory that don't involve Anthony Davis having a monster game.
Yes.
21 and 10 needs to be a half for Anthony Davis in the games they're going to win. Like that, I mean, the Warriors, though, it's not because Anthony Davis was missing easy shots. The Warriors' defense was extraordinary, as well as you can possibly play.
Yeah, he's going to have to be dead on, though. He's going to have to be able to shoot the jump shot 17, 18 feet, because Anthony Davis is not a back-to-the-back basketball player. He's not going to bag you down and jump hook you. LaMarcus Aldridge played mostly close to the back, so that's how he was able to dominate. Anthony Davis likes to shoot the 17-footer. He's going to catch some lobs. It's a different way he scores the basketball. And then also to add on top of that, you got to think about it. When Klay Thompson gets going from the outside, it makes it a whole different game. And they have zero, zero person that can guard Kevin Durant. This is crazy.
Yeah, no one to guard Kevin Durant. They got Drew Holiday guarding him. So that right there, that matchup Golden State took. Klay's playing at a level, both ends of the court, that's going to be a problem. But I like the pacing, because we saw in the first quarter, they got caught up into the playoff and the Warriors pacing. Yeah, they said, man, 34 points. Only giving up 35, like, oh, we're in this game. But after that, the Warriors in their defense began to choke them out. The thing that I saw for the first time probably this playoff was the ball movement. It was the same type of ball movement that they had when Steph was in there. Well, how do they create the same ball movement in round 2 that they couldn't do in round number 1? Well, Iggy and Draymond played a lot better offensively. So it opened up the court. They got 28 points between the two of them. If you get that type of productivity between those two players,
you can't beat them.
Oh, no.
They become impossible. So even without Steph being on the court, their overall spacing because of the other shooters, but their calling card, defense. You give up 40 points in 2 quarters in the NBA, especially when they come out of halftime, which we know the Warriors, they always blitz you in that third quarter. That defense right there is their calling card.
And just real quick, I want to build on something you said, because going into this series, I asked the question, who's guarding Anthony Davis? Like, are you going to have a big man out there to guard Anthony Davis? The question that was not asked enough was, who's guarding Kevin Durant? We know that no one in the league can shut down Kevin Durant, but there are guys, just like nobody can shut down LeBron, but there are guys that can give him trouble. The Pacers had a few guys that actually, like, you see the big bodies and it's like, oh.
Yeah, they gave him trouble. Yeah, he would have got 65.
Okay, fair enough, but you know what I mean.
They can make it physically more taxing.
But to add to that, you got to have bodies. New Orleans don't have enough bodies to throw at Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Solomon
enough
Hill,
wing defenders.
Right. Solomon Hill came in off the bench, but then you're limited after that. Darius Miller's too small to guard him as well, so they don't have enough bodies to throw at him and kills him. And you got to give Steve Kerr a lot of credit too to adjust. I mean, he don't even play JaVale McGee. I was shocked.
Yeah. Kevon Looney played 24 minutes.
Yeah, JaVale McGee was unbelievable in the Spurs series, and he don't even play him.
Yeah, I thought the Pelicans had a chance. When I saw Nick Young out there on the court to start the game, I was like, goodness gracious, like they really have a chance, but they could never get to those matchups, especially the Pelicans. They couldn't get to the matchups where AD. I think they got to take a page from San Antonio to make an adjustment, make it more of a half-court game, and make AD play with his back to the basket, because then you don't get all those perimeter switching, where Golden State is really, really good at that.
And now the Warriors may be getting Steph back Tuesday. How much does that change for how the Pelicans are going to game plan this team?
I think it's more for Golden State, obviously trying to implement him back into the lineup, figuring out, how many minutes to play him, making sure that he's healthy, because you're looking for a longer run. I think he's going to play. I think you sit him Tuesday, you play him Friday.
Because they played this way, because you mentioned this during the break, because of how Game 1 went, you now would give Steph an extra game off because they don't play Game 3 till Friday, so you're effectively giving him an extra 4 days. You wouldn't play in Game 2.
Yeah, I just think in the playoffs, your others play better. And if you look at the way Golden State bench played in Game 1, David West stepping up, making shots. Obviously, Cook making some shots. Cook making some shots. So those guys play better at home. You get on the road, Steph Curry gives you that boost, that energy that you're going to need on the road. And then obviously you got to start getting some shape. He needs to start to get himself into some basketball shape. So you got to bring him back soon.
All right, Antoine, thank you very much. We'll see you a little bit later in the show. Coming up, any chance the Celtics upset the Sixers this series? This will be a good one. Next on First Things First.